I would like to relate what happened around the time of Vov Tishrei Tovshin Chav Hei, when the Rebbe's mother, the Rebbe Tzachana, passed away. She was nostalgic. And I'm not going to go through all the details, exactly what happened when the Rebbe was told, and all these different things. That takes a long time and a lot of details. I'm just going to say, Bekitzer, the general inyanim which are negated to Fabring is negated to the Rebbe's Hanhage. And also those things which I saw, or I was connected to, involved, but not, I'm sure there were many other people who saw it from a different perspective and have other details to add. And I'm just going to say it the way I see it. Number one, I think I want to start with Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah Fabringen was a very freilich Fabringen. The whole Fabringen Rebbe was very ufgelegt, was very happy. And even at the end of the Fabringen, the Rebbe even said something which sounded kivyochel like a joke. At the end, close to the end of the Fabringen, the Gabbai announced the Seder, like he always would do on the Yontav Dike Fabringen, on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, or second day of Shavuos, or Rachel Shepesach, all these Fabringes on Yontav, with the Rebbe washed, and then the Rebbe, they would have Ma'ariv. So then, towards the end of the Fabringen, the Gabbai would make an announcement. The Seder V'zayin Hazeh, this is going to be the order. That jetzt geht the Rebbe benchen, the Rebbe is going to bench. And then we're going to daven Ma'ariv. And then the Rebbe will give Koshel Bracha, etc., etc. That's the announcement makes. So this time, Rosh Hashanah, the second day Rosh Hashanah, by the Fabringen Toshin Chofei, the Gabbai announced, it's the Seder Zayin Hazeh. Now the Seder will be like this. The Rebbe is going to make Havdalah, going to daven bench. Then they will daven Ma'ariv. The Rebbe will make Havdalah. And then there'll be Koshel Bracha. And no one should push. Azeyot Gehesen the Nayer Vadam Sader. That's what they announced. This is how the new Vadam Sader said, which means that the Vadam Sader was one that took care of things that will go by Fabringen, how to set up, and all the different things to take care of Fabringen. So not long before Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe made a new Vadam Sader. New Vadam Sader was Rebbe Leibel Groner, Rebbe David Raskin, Rebbe Moshe Pinchas Katz, and Rebbe Zalman Gerari. There was new people and new Vadam Sader. They started putting in new Yistorim to make a better Seder. So this is what the Gabbai made the announcement. Zalman Duchman, I think, was the one that made the announcement, and he said, Azeyot Gehesen, the Nayer Vadam Sader. This is how the new Vadam Sader said, and we got to listen. So when he finished, the Rebbe started like this. It's the Seder Zayin Hazeh. He pushed it, imitated what Rebbe Zalman Duchman said. He said, first at the Zayin, at Narangen in the 9 year. First we'll go into the new year. And then we're going to learn a lot of Torah, a lot of Nigel, a lot of Chassidus. And from them we'll come to a lot of mitzvahs behidur. And before that, the Eibishter will give us Aksiva, Nechsim, Tevel, Shonatei, Mesukah, and all the details for Bonim, of Bnei Bonim, and a lot of money, and Brochas, and Atzlochas, and Yeshuas, and the Chomes, like the women say after Avdolah. And it should be a good year, Bekashim, Mezruch, Gam Yochad. And then the Rebbe finished off, Azeyot Gehesen, the Nayer Vadam Sader Merdaf Volk, and he imitated the Rebbe Zalman Duchman said. This is all part of the Freilichkeit of the Rebbe. And mit Geret, zwischen sich, people were talking that Bechlal Rosh Hashanah by the Rabbein was a very serious time. It wasn't a time of special Freilichkeit, a special joy. Whenever it was like a siman that you have to be mamtig the dinim, that you have to sweeten the judgment. So when this happened, some people were saying, zwischen sich, this is strange that there's such a simcha on Rosh Hashanah, and hopefully there's nothing, and that we're talking about being mamtik the dinim. The Pale Mamish, the Rebbe's mother, already didn't feel good on Rosh Hashanah, and there are other details around it, but we're not going into. And when it came to Shabbos Tshuva, which was Shabbos Parshas Vayelech, so the Rebbe, she already wasn't feeling well, and the Rebbe was told, and the Rebbe came down late to Shachris because Dr. Zelikson was talking to him, and then there was the Fabringen for Shabbos Tshuva. The Fabringen finished at 4:30. Actually, in the middle of the Fabringen, Dr. Zelikson went over to the Rebbe, and I was watching what he said. It wasn't so clear, but I think the word that he said, he asked the Rebbe till when the Rebbe will Fabring. And it was known already that the Rebbe's mother is not feeling good, so he asked how long the Rebbe will Fabring. And I think, and I'm not sure, I think the Rebbe answered him 5:30. And he said to the Rebbe that it's too late. In other words, it's important that the Rebbe should go earlier. And the Rebbe said 4:30. And actually the Fabringen finished actually at 4:30. Take. In that Fabringen, the Rebbe spoke about the posuk where it says in Parashat Vayelech, Onechi hasta raster spona b'yem ahu. Hashem says, I'm going to cover up my face at that time. And the Rebbe spoke a whole union about it, in word from Baal Shem Tov, and he said that in this hester, in this concealment, there is Onechi. Whole arichas he spoke, but he was crying. In the middle, he was crying very strongly. He saw it was something very on the Rebbe's mind. He also spoke in that same Fabrengen, Benegeya, what says in Targum Yonasan on the Posik, Vayelech Moshe went. Where did he go? So it says in Targum Yonasan, he went to Beis Ulfana. He went to the yeshiva to learn Torah. And from that, the Rebbe took out the hero that before you do anything, you have to look into what the Torah says. Before you do anything, even though you're a Talmud Chacham and you remember things from before, and you know, you got to look everything up from Torah, and you brought the story from the Rebbe Nishmasein, etc., etc. And it was Negei Ataka till later you saw that throughout the whole time, from the beginning when she passed away, all the dinim, but Negei Aninis Navelis, and the Shiva, constantly before the Rebbe did anything, he asked, you should ask Harov. It fit to what he said before, that you have to look everything what the Torah says. And this was like a hagdome to what he did then. There was a maimer in this Fabrengen, a maimer Ken Sicher, and the maimer started with the words, Shira Mailis Mimamakim. It was a hemshech to the maimer of Rosh Hashanah, which started with the Posek, Zayim Tchilas Masecha. It's the Maimer Ken Siche, which was a hemshech to the Maimer before. Later on Sukkot, the Maimer started Keser, and that was also a hemshech. But this Maimer was a Maimer Ken Siche. It wasn't the Maimer with the niggin of a Maimer. And it seems that's what people were talking. Again, we don't know. Everyone could say whatever they want. That really the Rebbe had planned to say this Maimer a regular Maimer, but because he had to finish it by bringing him faster, because of what Dr. Zelikson told him, that's why he changed. Who knows? But the sickness seems, since it was mamish in the same hemshech. You see, the Shabbos afterwards, Shabbos Pashas Hazinu, there was a maimer not in the hemshech, and that was a maimer ken sicher. But this was in the hemshech. Anyway, we don't know, but Lapel, this is what happened. And the Fabrengen finished at 4:30. After the Fabrengen, the Rebbe would go upstairs into his room, and then they would have mincha. So the Rebbe went up after the Fabrengen to his room, came out right away to mincha, and the Seder used to be that right after mincha, the Rebbe would walk back into his room. It would take a few moments, a few minutes, and then the Rebbe would walk out slowly from his room, go down the steps in front of 770, go down, turn left, and walk home with his coat. And his coat was always buttoned. But this time, as soon as Mincha was over, he went into his room fast. In a split second, he was out of his room already, was walking very fast out of his room all the way down the steps. His coat wasn't even buttoned. And he walked down, and instead of turning left, he turned right. And the interesting thing is, always everyone knew the women stood on the right side and the men on the left side. And the Rebbe he walked where the men were standing. Here, the Rebbe turned right away right, and the women were all standing there. And fast, they had to move, so the Rebbe should be able to walk. And he ran straight to his house. And he went very fast, didn't run. He went very fast, and he came to his house. We, in 770, started Chazorah. And in the middle of Chazorah, that's when we heard that the Rebbetzin is really, the matzav is not good, and the Rebbetzin is really very, very sick. So we stopped Chazorah, and everyone started saying Tilim. And then we heard that the ambulance came, and then the Rebbetzin, they took her, and the Rebbe went into the ambulance and went to the hospital. And I will continue this in the next broadcast.